Bonds at 328. This is Donnie at Springville, 2008. On the
Here we go with the green flag. This is Mike Schultz out of Marion, Iowa, with the Dallas Caliber D21 ball. Blackjack 21.
Your ears.
No.
45 is the marker to that line. Blackjack 21, driven by Michael Schultz out of Marion, Iowa. Going to be the number 6 hook in this class of 10 tractors. Oh man, broke out on it. Give him a
Oops, that was a good one. I want to watch that one. Well, welcome everybody to a special edition, a Christmas edition of Let's Go Pulling. I'm with my dad. He was sitting there, I swear, just a few minutes ago. Now he made a disappearing act where I was playing some videos. But Merry Christmas from the Schultz family. Matt, Mike, and Larry and I last week talked about not having a show because it's Christmas, and I thought, you know what? I haven't really got Dad on the Let's Grow Pulling podcast before. So I told everybody else to take the night off, and I asked Dad to jump on the show. Now he's back. He disappeared on us there a little bit. So on behalf of the Schultz family, Merry Christmas. Happy New Year to everybody. Hopefully everybody had a good day. And I get asked all the time, why do you love pulling, or how did you get into pulling? And it's that guy sitting right below me, my dad, Mike Schultz. So we went to tractor pulls when I was a little kid. And in those first couple of years, all I cared about was picking up pop cans and getting the nickels and the beer cans underneath the grandstands. Then I kind of started getting into it. And we're going to talk about George Hendrickson tonight. We're going to talk about Ernie Ross. And then we're going to talk about Dad's pulling career leading up to he's going to be driving our new tractor. It's going to be the Remedy Diesel Super Stock. I don't have it all figured out yet, but you'll be seeing Dad a lot in the seat. Dad's a way better driver than me, and I'm looking forward to watching him do that. As you know, we bought the high-tech redneck from Mike Beck. Doug Meisinger is going to be wrenching on it, and Dad's going to be doing the driving 90% of the time. So welcome, everybody. Merry Christmas. You know the drill. If you have questions, please type them in the comments. If you have any good stories about my dad, please type them in the comments. I love that stuff as well. So, Dad, Merry Christmas. Welcome to the Let's Grow Pulling podcast. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. How are you?
Fantastic. So, I want to know. I don't think I've ever asked you this. How did you get into pulling? Like, because I know Grandpa Schultz thought it was a waste of money, which we all know it is. But how did you get into this sport?
Well, I just have always loved tractors all my life, growing up with them, and then about the time the Iowa Tractor Pullers was going pretty good down in the Sigourney, and Sigourney had a big one in Kelowna, Washington, Iowa, and a few of those that I started to attend them and just to watch them. And I got hooked by watching the big John Deere of Ernie Ross and Lee Elward from Memphis, Missouri with the Big 10. And I liked that black smoke. And I guess I just always wanted the opportunity to do it. And then finally, I guess God brought me around to it. And we bought the old D21.
Yeah, but you never farmed with Alice. You always had red tractors, I feel like, and green on the farm, right?
Yep. George wouldn't let me have anything but international. Well, I went and snuck out and bought a 40-20 from Ernie one time. And I paid a hard price for that for a while. Otherwise, I was pretty much a red man. I bought tractors from Hendrickson Implement in Richland, Iowa.
Nice. So, again, if you're just joining us, Merry Christmas. This is my dad, Mike Schultz, and we're going to talk about his pulling background, his pulling history. I opened up the show showing a lot of videos of the D21. A lot of people in Wisconsin didn't know. So Mom and Dad got divorced when I was in 7th grade, and then I moved to Wisconsin in my freshman year in high school. And then that tractor, Dad, has kept us best friends over all these years, and it kept me coming back every other weekend a lot. So it means a lot to me. And for everybody, we talk about our pulling family all the time. Dad, those rides in your truck with the old open trailer to the pulls back and forth, that's when we did our talking. And that's really where you were, we talked about just growing up. And I will never forget those drives as long as I live. So I just want to thank you for that before I forget to say that. But those are my best memories. No matter how many tractor pulls you won, Dad, and you did, the D21 kicked ass in ECI in the day. I mean, we got our ass kicked for a while. Then we got the twins running, and then they made us go smaller twins, but we'll dive into all that with ECI. But, man, we had some really good years with the 21, with Coonrod helping, and just a lot of great memories growing up. And it really, I always wanted to have my own tractor, and we'll get into that as well and on how all that happened. So it just means a lot to me having you on the podcast tonight and kind of doing it on Christmas. It's special because it's all about family. And I really, really appreciate that. So you've said George multiple times. Not everybody knows who George is. So tell them George is. Tell them who George Hendrickson was and what he meant to our family and just the pulling world in general, if you don't mind.
Well, I heard him on the microphone, I guess, is how I did it. And one day, a few months or maybe that fall later, I picked up the phone to buy a 1206 International at Hendrickson Implement in Richland. And I heard his voice. And I immediately said, I know your voice. And he said, well, do you go to any tractor pulls? And I said, yes, I do. And he said, well, quite frankly, I'm the voice of the Iowa Tractor Pullers. So I went down and bought the 1206. And I think just over the years, we just became very, very solid, good friends. We had quite a relationship. He was good to me. I went to a lot of pulls with him when he couldn't take somebody else or something. He'd invite us to go along, and you and I chased him around. We'd go up when he was announcing up at Nashua, different things like that, different places. And our friendship was very important to me. And we were good friends right till he passed away. So, good guy.
Yeah, Nashville. I forgot about Nashville. We used to go there all the time. I always remember Blairstown. I don't know. I think that was just an ECI hook back in the day. Remember, used to pull Gene Root's farm stock tractor. I remember that.
Well, they had the Iowa pullers there for a while.
Okay.
Probably right up until the ECI got going a little bit. And then I think Craig and Leo Kinzenball kind of introduced that to them because they were looking for a little cheaper venue, or the Iowa pullers may have been losing some tractors. Back then, it was Roy Becker, the old D21, and Ernie, and Lee Elward. They were the top dogs, seems like, in the bigger classes. Don't remember some of the smaller classes, but they had a good show. Jack Simon, I guess, those guys, and a pretty good bunch of mods. But it seems like when about the time the ECI came to be, or we kind of started pulling with that group, the Iowa pullers were going backwards a little bit, maybe.
So was that a state association of the NTPA back then, or were they separate? Do you remember?
Well, I think they were part of the NTPA or co-sanctioned or working with them. I don't really know for sure. I think the Iowa State Fair was always NTPA Grand National, and the Iowa Pullers always put that on or whatever, and then the NTPA came into it. And they had big pulls in Davenport, Iowa, big NTPA pulls down there. They had a few Grand Nationals probably scattered out across the state. Maybe Spencer, possibly, I don't know, but Spencer and the State Fair. And then they always had a big one down in Davenport, a 2 or 3 day pull. So,
yeah. So I mean, my fondest memories are obviously Kelowna and the Ropp family. Warren, we were trying to get Warren to come on tonight. Obviously, he drove the Iron Elk for his dad Ernie, and they had Kelowna implement. And I just remember, I just loved sitting on the Iron Elk tractor back in the day. Whenever you'd go down there to the shop, I always got to do that, and check out the tractor sitting in the back. That was pretty neat. So.
Yeah.
But Warren's not feeling well tonight. He summers in Florida now, or winters in Florida, and he's down there, but he just doesn't feel that good, or just got a little bit of a head cold. He said he sounds bad, so he didn't want to come on tonight. So, again, thanks for joining us on Christmas, doing a little podcast with my dad. Obviously, we bought a diesel super stock, and we're getting ready to go pulling with the Outlaws, and we're going to run some NTPA Grand National when we don't have an Outlaw hook, but we're excited about that. Disappointed we didn't get into Louisville, but we respect the process and understand that. But we're going to get Dad in the seat, and we can get him down there. I'm sure we'll get there in the future sometime. That's the last big one for me, Dad, for you, is Louisville. That's a pretty special place. A pretty special place.
Yes, it is.
So let's talk about the Ropps a little bit. Is that did we just get to know them from pulling, or I mean, what are the earlier memories of them that you have?
Well, probably met him earlier more through going to pulls and kind of watching them around. And then,
like, what year are we talking? Like late? Because I was born in '75, and I remember pulls. I remember like Monticello, Kelowna, Blairstown, the Little Brown Church, Nashua. Those are some of the towns. So we're like early '80s or late '70s. What do you think?
Well, late '70s, early '80s, I'd say. I bought some machinery from Ernie on and off. Not a whole lot, but I did. And that's, of course, I knew him then, and then got acquainted with Warren that way. And just over the years, I guess, became friends with them or whatever. Followed their career. We always liked the Iron Elk, I guess. Remember when it first had the white hood on it, and thought that was kind of neat or special, or different, I guess. And then, we went to a lot of pulls and saw them. That's probably maybe always visited with them a little bit there, you know, at Tractor Pulls. So, and then Ernie, they Farmer Supply Sales, they had quite an implement business down in Kelowna. Ernie was very, very successful there in the Robb family. They knew how to run a business. So
No, that's awesome. I'm looking for some pictures of the white hood. I got some Photo Joe pictures, you know, of the Iron Elk with the green hood. So let's see. I'll pop some of those up. If anybody has any old pictures of the Iron Elk, please send them to me on Facebook Messenger. I'll throw them up there on the screen. I got my Few the Proudly Orange hat on tonight. I still run that Facebook group, and I got our very first T-shirt on, Dad, that I made us back in the day.
yeah.
Yeah, it's an oldie but a goodie. All right, so let's fast forward now to you meeting Mike LaBarge and buying the Joker. I think it was called the Joker when you bought it. It was a deep. Well, first of all, like what did they call it? Super stock? Like what? Yeah, it was like the 5, the 7, the 9, and the 11, right? That they did back then, like with Ernie, John Klug, and all those guys.
Yeah, yep. They pulled a lot of them pulled 7, 9, and 12 or something like that.
Yeah.
And the light tractors pretty much stayed lighter. And then every now and then you'd go. I remember going to Mount Pleasant one night, and you were probably there in the mid. The mods pulled. They mixed them. They had kind of an open class, and Lee Elward was running hard back in the day. Back that old 10 ran good, and he stuck it to all of them. He beat the mods and everybody. And
Lee was from Missouri, right?
Yeah, Memphis, Missouri. Yeah,
Yep.
Lee and Phil Elward. Yeah, Lee drove it mostly that I remember, and then Phil later on or whatever, or on and off, Phil drove it. Yep, they farmed quite a bit of ground down by Memphis. Yep, good old good guy.
Uncle Paul's watching. He just sent me a picture. He's got something. This is good. Ernie's got his white helmet on, no roll cage. I'm going to put this up on the screen in just a second. So let's fast forward now to, let's see, probably 89, 88, 89, 90 is when you bought LaBarge's tractor, the Joker. So were you running around with like Evans and anybody, or did you just start hanging out with the ECI stuff? How did that all come together? Was that ECI a club then? Was it even a club?
Well, it was just starting to be a club in about 89 or 90, probably somewhere right in there. Kind of starting to form itself. Bill McAdady and Rick Evans and maybe the Shelby brothers, probably some more kind of started it. And then when Debbie and I married in 91, I bought LaBarge's tractor, I think, that year or the next year. And I didn't pull it, but I bought it from him. Mike LaBarge, who I was acquainted with, had this D21 called the Joker for sale. And I bought it from him. And I know I didn't pull it the first year I bought it, but I did, I think, the next year. And it was kind of I guess, at that time, more of a hot farm or whatever, maybe 500 horse or 600. Had 20.8s on it and stock pump and things like that. And Mike just kind of grew tired of it. And so I bought it from him and 2 other D21s. I bought 3 D21s from him. And
you recognize that picture, Dad?
Yeah, there's Ernie. Yeah.
Yeah, Uncle Paul sent that. So he, that's got to be an old, probably a pulling magazine maybe, or a.
Yeah, that's the back side of the Iowa Pulling magazine, I think, because they always had the back cover. And that was before they put the twin stacks and stuff on it. So
this is the oldest picture I could find of the tractor. This is obviously, well, I mean, look, that's not Springville, is it?
No, that's new here too. And you can't quite tell, but I was looking down at the oil pressure gauge because I came out of the hole and the oil pressure was 120. And about a second later, it was just falling off and it broke every main cap, or it broke 5 of the 7 main caps. And it was about to blow the crank out the bottom because we were starting to push it a little bit harder then. But that
would have been 426, so one single charger, like a 3x4 probably.
Yeah, yep, probably, yeah. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, this would have been what, 90. 94-ish, maybe.
Yeah, probably somewhere in there. 94.
I'm just trying to recognize the fire suit, and
It was the second year because that's when we put the 24.5s on it and a P pump and stuff like that. And we kind of started cranking the RPMs to it. And then that's when it kept breaking main caps. So Mike Schaefer, the next year, built a girdle plate for it down at
Southern Illinois.
Southern Illinois Crankshaft.
Is he still in business?
Yeah, I think so. I think he's maybe retired a little bit, and his son is doing more of it. They work on a lot of semis. I know that. So
Okay.
yeah, I think they do a lot of my motor work. But if
Morgan Schulte thinks that's about 98. He's usually pretty good at this stuff. So
yeah, I'm not real sure, but it was. I know that's at New Vienna because I remember thinking, "Holy cow, what's going on?" And what a drop right after that, I got off the throttle.
The boss is checking in. Doug Meitzinger's checking tonight, Mr. Scrappy. So
really, well, we can't say anything bad about him, even though it'd be more appropriate. But now we have to be nice to him. The sucking up's going to kill me with him. That's the problem. Right. But I'll get used to it. So
Ken Summers says, "Hey guys, looking forward to watching Mr. Schultz blow some smoke this year." So
yeah.
Well, don't you call him Dick Nose or something? I can't remember. Is that his nickname?
No, I think that just got maybe a little Jerry juice got involved that night or something.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. So Morgan says because of 95, it had a right-handed pipe out the side.
Well, it could have. I don't remember.
Yeah, I never stopped. Doug says never stopped you before from sucking up or being mean. So
I know that's single turbo because when we put the twins on it, we stuck the pipe out the side so that we could raise the hood up on it for some reason.
Oh, hold on. I found an older video. This is from, no, that can't be older because it doesn't have a cage, but that's got the pipe out the side. This is when we put the AccuFeed roll cage on. This is on AccuFeed's website still.
Was it? Yeah, I bought one of the first, or bought my cage from him, and I was one of the first Alice Chalmers, I think, or something when I started working with him, and they wanted some pictures of it. I remember that. I think that photo was taken at New Vienna also.
Yeah, I don't know that stuff like you do. I have a picture. So these are the two. I took this picture, Dad, and this picture from the AccuFeed website.
Oh, okay. Well, that's the orange is when I turned the turbos back the other way. I think we could run a 3x4 on top or whatever. So I moved it so that it'd suck out of the grill and then redid the tubing, and that kind of made it come alive. That track hard to beat, that one right there.
Yeah, it was. There's your grandson Riley's watching. He happens to be sitting in the seat in that picture. What are the chances of that? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that was it. That thing ran good. Schulte had built a frame for it, stretched it out, and we did a lot of stuff to it. And yeah, when we repainted it back orange again, everybody liked that. And it ran hard for what it was. For what it was, it ran hard.
In East Central Iowa, we were called Limited Pro, right?
Yeah, 95, I think 85, 95 Limited Pro.
Yep.
It didn't cost anything to run that. I think I ran that 5 years with the same mains and rods in it one time, rod bearings. But we weren't pushing near what we do today with them. But
no,
that was a good old tractor.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Riley says, always remember that as the blackjack tractor. That is the blackjack tractor for sure.
Yep.
Blackjack tractor. Again, if you're just joining us, thank you. Merry Christmas from the Schultzes and the Beer Money Polling Team and our Let's Grow Polling podcast. We do this every Monday night at 8 p.m. You can also listen to this on iTunes and Spotify. Usually tomorrow we'll get this downloaded and pull the audio down, and you can listen to it at work or while you're driving. I know a lot of people in their farm and they listen to the podcast as well. I'm putting all of our partners and sponsors on the right. Haven't done a podcast with Dad in a long time. I talk about Dad all the time, and he's going to be driving the new tractor majority of the time, and just really never get a chance to do this. And I'm going to drive down tonight, but I decided we'll just do it the old, send them a link just like everybody else and do it. So if you have any questions for Dad or memories of Dad or anything like that, let's just talk pulling. Just having a good time tonight. Just kind of talking about Dad's pulling timeline to get him to where he is today. And we're kind of, so I know in the 95, no, the 85, you won the points, 4, 5, 6, 7 years in a row. I feel like maybe that's a little cocky. I don't remember.
It carried the 85 pretty easy for several years. Yeah. Not, but yeah. We always chased old Lyle and Troy in the 95. And I don't know that we ever won both classes. We'd win some pulls, but I just couldn't get that old 10, that old no problem guy. I just couldn't knock him down in the 95. So
yeah. Well, you let me drive it a lot in the 95. That's probably part of the problem. So,
and he couldn't get light enough to suit himself in the 85, so I usually could whip him pretty good there. But
yep.
In the 95, we had to have a good game to get him.
Am I too old for a spanking? Ken Summers wants to know, am I too old for a spanking? Yes, Ken, I am. So
you do it mentally now, Ken. You don't have to hit him. You just mentally take him to the cleaners.
Yeah. There's a night he doesn't want to drive, let me know. Yeah, Brandon, I've been getting all kinds of offers of people wanting to drive if Dad can't. So Chad, this is a question I get a lot. Where is that chassis, Dad? Not the super stock chassis you had. Where is Blackjack today? Do you know?
Well, I sold it to Mark Gettinger, a good friend of mine down there in Jackson, Tennessee. I believe is his original or physical address, but he lives outside of Indy, and we became good friends over the years. He built a lot of transmission parts and different things, and again, we became fast friends, and he bought it because when we turned it into the super stock, which is a picture behind me, if you can see it a little bit.
Yep.
That's Grand National at
Rockwell.
No, at
New Hampton.
Jim Eckenrod's hometown, New Hampton. Yep, that was the first Grand National we ever took it to. We pulled it in Decorah the night before, and then went down to that one. And
that was that a 3-charger tractor then?
That was, yeah, it had the 3 chargers and hyper pump on it and stuff like that, and it ran pretty respectable for what it was, but we couldn't keep a rear end in it. And then Mark Gettinger wanted all them light parts, and so he bought the chassis, the sheet metal, and everything. And I think the last time I talked to him, he said he still got the side sheets up on the wall of his shop, and I think he might have some of it, maybe, I don't know, in his Light Pro, because I had made tube axles and lightened that. We took about 400 pounds out of that rear end from the bell housing back one year, and he wanted all that stuff. So that's what Mark's done with it. I don't know, but that's where it went. So
let's see here. Toby Pencil says Beer Money Pulling Team is watching. He's in Denver, Iowa. I remember running into your dad at the Iowa State Fair pull when I ran my skid and rake there. I think he gave me a hat. Well, good job, Dad. So,
well, I'm a good guy.
I'm a good guy. No, I like that. Dave Barnhart. Merry Christmas to you, Dave Barnhart. He's got his good-looking white farm tractor in there. So it's been a good day. It's been a good day. All right, so I feel like in the 2000 to 08 was when it was dominant in ECI in the 85, and then I feel like that's when Ron Ament came around, and then he had the twins, and then he was running really hard because we had our first churning dirt in Richland Center in 08. Yeah. And I feel like that's when they kind of ECI turned the rules against the twin turbo tractors. I always loved that, because I didn't understand cubic inch back in the day. And, when we had the 426, Evans and Schultz and those guys were at 466. And then they went to 540, and then they went to 600, then they went to 640. And that 426 just couldn't keep up. But when they let us have the twins, that made that tractor competitive again. And then it just got angry. And I remember you and Ron Ament, man, those were his, what did he call his white 10?
Just passing through.
Yeah,
we had a lot of fun together because Ron was a good head-to-head competitor, And he had a 414 in there. And we kept telling people we could run up to 540s. But if they went over 540s, we needed more charger. And then that started the controversy of how much turbochargers to give us. And I think we were running maybe 3x4s on the bottom and then running 3.5s or something on top. 3.5s, I think. And then when we took that tractor to the state fair, or Ron and I would go outside of ECI, we'd put 4-inch or 4.1s on top of them, of the 3x4s. And then they'd really roll. And we had some, well, I mean, in the day, you know, we had, those tractors would run. And
Yeah.
I think
Well, I remember, I'm trying to think, like when ECI was going to make you put smaller chargers on, that's when you said, I don't want to go backwards. I feel like that put the 4.1 on, and then I think we pulled on Tri-State then, didn't we, for a while?
Yeah. And actually, one of the tech officials in the ECI said, you guys are going to have to tune it back a little bit. And I said, gosh, it's a motorsport. I can't believe you'd go backwards. And I'm not going to. I won't. I refuse to do it. And I think Ron was kind of thinking the same thing. So I think both of us left the same year, which probably didn't hurt anything, but we both took off the same year. And I started on the 3-charger tractor.
Yep.
And so did Ron, I think. But he bought a new one. He bought Cody somebody's tractor, Magnum looking one, or a MX one, that was kind of set up to be light. And that he had that thing running pretty good. And then I think they got very busy and their dyno service took off. And I think they just didn't have time to work on it, maybe like he liked. I seen him put a stomping on Degenhardt's one night up at Dubuque. And I thought, that's what we had, the 4-charger, the white one. And Ron, I won't say stomping, but he pulled with Degenhardt's. So that tells you how good it was going for him. And then I think his business just got so busy that he kind of backed away from it a little bit. So
yeah, somebody has said it's still sitting there and they're going to make it a pro stock. I've heard different rumors. James Geezy, yeah, James, we're talking about his white 10. Yes, James.
Yeah, his old white 10. He ran 2 chargers on that like I did, and then he sold it to somebody because he told me one time at a pull, that's my old tractor. And I always liked that white one. You know, he always he had messed with that tractor for a lot of years, you know. But it was a 14, and boy, you didn't want to turn your back on him. I know that.
Because I felt like in ECI I felt like in the late 90s, early 2000s, like some of the guys went true super farm, like NTPA and Outlaw Super Farm. Like Schultz and who else would have done that? Oh, that Kevin guy with the John Deere. But then when they would come pull with us, I always felt like we could run with them. So I would say it was a pretty equal match there. I don't remember what weight we rolled at. So
yeah, those guys wanted to venture out, which was no more than right. And they wanted to run the 3x3 at the time, and they wanted to be able to go pull some NTPA pulls and stuff like that. And so that's why the cubic inch for them started to grow. And then there was just no way to punch an AC out that far.
Yeah.
And run good. And Ron, I just don't think he was really interested in changing much. And so he kind of course, him and Austin took off, and their business, I think, has grown pretty nicely over the years.
Mike Steffen says, didn't Ron win the Inderly? I think he did one year win Inderly with the Super and the region, the one when they had a diesel Super region class, I think.
He possibly could have.
Both Schulte boys are watching. They're like Rain Man. They know everything, so they'll know.
Those guys know. Yeah.
Geezy says the white 1066 is now a 466 tractor owned by my cousin called Horseplay. Okay.
Yeah, it went back to 466. And if I'm right, Ron built a motor for it, sold it running, you know, but I don't know.
Colin Burkholz says Immense won the Inderly in 16. Okay, good. What did they call their super stock? Do you remember?
Well, I think just pass it through. I think they kept it, but don't hold me to that. I know he put a hyperblock in there, and then he was telling me one time that he sent his fuel pump or got a fuel pump from Hyper, the Sigma, and they lost it on UPS. and he had luckily taken insurance on it. So they had to pay him. And then about 3 months later, or a time later, they found the fuel pump on a shelf somewhere out in California.
Wow.
But he had luckily taken insurance on it. Otherwise, he'd have been out $16,000 or $18,000 that when he put the first Sigma on there. Yeah. So
okay, 08, 09, you ran a cast ass for a while with 3 Chargers. I remember that. And then you said it's time to go component. That would have been because I got the Remedy, the 4.1 out in 15, and you built that in 14 and 15. So this picture, it would be then from the spring of 15 and Gary Schultz's shop. This would be 2015. Do you agree with that? Has to be.
Well, I think that's RJ's shop, but they're out at the farm.
Oh, it is. Yep. I had some pictures on my phone from Schultz's shop.
But Gary did a lot of work on it. The frame and
let's talk about that. Did you buy it? Did you buy a component chassis from Ace, or did you buy it from Goodwin? What did you do? Do you remember?
Well, I bought a component from Troy Arndt through Dennis Goodwin, and we top the rear end and take the components out we wanted. And then we went to Ace Chassis and bought a new Ace chassis, and Matt Goodwin stuck it together for us. And Gary Schultz actually took that old frame, which was Brandon Hunt's original Super, and Troy had it. And Schultz said to me one time, "Bring that thing up here. I think I could do something to that and sell it." And damn thing sold in like a day or two. It had Magnum sheet metal, hood and cage, but we had kind of chopped the rear end out of it. So Gary cut it to make it fit an international bell housing to sell it. And some guy came and took it, and we sold it. And Matt stuck the original Ace chassis together. And then I think we either took it to Schultz or hauled it out to Simpsons and started putting it together. And then back and forth to Schultz to Simpson, to paint to Schultz to Simpsons. And but Gary did a lot of the finish work on it. I got the hood from Mark Gettinger. I think you got the fenders from Elvin Dolman, maybe?
Yeah, and the steering console.
Yep. And then Gary kind of put the finishing touches on it cosmetically. And then
Gaffney painted it.
Yeah, Gaffney painted it. And then we hauled it out to Simpsons, I think, to do the rest of the mechanical work on it, to get it ready to run. And
and then the first pass you made, I'll play the video of it right here. This was in Richland Center at Motorsports Mayhem.
That's a maiden voyage. Yep.
Let's see here. I got it right here. I played it earlier, but I'll play it again. So this was a 4-Charger tractor, 476. Dad, do you remember the cubes?
No, we used all the 426 parts up we had, and Max had, and that didn't take long. And then ceramic was going to 504. So Brian called me one day and said, "I'll make you a deal on all my 478 parts, sleeves and pistons and stuff he had." So we went to 478, and then of course still under cubes. The other guys had 504s. And,
so this was 2015 this is in Richland Center at our Motorsports Mayhem event, like mid-May. So here we go. That was a sharp tractor.
Yeah, I liked it. Brent did a nice job painting it, and that was going to be the last one, but we just never really could, I don't know, time or money. Maybe ran out of both. We just couldn't get it going, so I ended up going to Van Beek's and getting the old Black 10.
Yeah, so Taylor bumped into me at Gordyville and said, "I want to get in the super stock class." And I said, "Perfect. Would you please call my father?" So you guys put that together in 17 or 18. Do you remember?
Yeah, probably, because it sat a year or so, I think. Yeah, 16 or 17. I don't know. I don't remember for sure.
Then
But
this looks like Springville. I feel like, yeah, it is. Clayton
Yeah.
Owen, Foggy Body and Images took that photo. So you had this
That
tractor.
that was a good one right there. That was a well-built piece of iron, and it ran good. So
Well, Jesse Guys has had good luck with it since he bought it from you too. So it's still a good
yeah,
piece. So
when
okay,
you,
so what years you won a point? You won an ECI points championship with this, right? In 18, I think.
yeah, 1 year with it. I'm not sure what year it was, but yeah, I took it down to Healy and had him put the NTPA stuff on it, bigger charger, or it had Outlaw stuff on it. We put a
Yeah. Then
I bought
Outlaw had a box turbo and a box fuel pump. Not a box fuel pump, but they had a what was it? A 16 or something or
yeah,
shit.
I know. Yep, and then I bought Kyle Beatenbender's fuel pump from him. He wanted to try something else. And Healy said, "Yeah, it'll take what you want to do."
Yeah.
So we sent it over to Denny. Did that, and I think when it pulled in, a lot of people knew that it had every possibility of winning, and it did. It was a top 5 tractor all the time, or top 3 really, and that was when the 4.1s were really starting to change, and the Outlaws, if you pulled with the NTPA, they were left behind in a hurry.
Yeah.
The NTPA was really making their 4.1s a tough class. So.
I feel like 18 or 19 is when they changed that rule with the Outlaws that you didn't have to do that anymore. I don't know if anybody's watching from the Outlaws night, but that's fun. Because Scott Feldkamp, Trophy Bucks, watching tonight. Merry Christmas, Schultz family. We saw Scott up in Hillsdale when Dad drove the new tractor for the first time, so that's good.
Yeah, he's a good fella.
What year did you sell the Perfect 10 then? Do you remember?
No, not for sure. I don't. No, I don't remember. But it's been probably 3 or 4 years already.
Yeah,
at
least 3 or 4. So
yeah, and well, it was kind of around. It sat out the COVID year, and then it seems like maybe I sold it the next year. And I remember it sat in the shed all year, and Debbie and I had talked it over about doing something different or going more with you, I guess. And I remember Doug and I cleaned it all up, and we stuffed the stack out the door. And when that first whiff of ether hit it, I said to Doug, "Put her back in the shed. I can't do this. I'm not selling it. Can't do it. Can't do it. Won't do it." And then Jesse kept calling me. And oddly enough, when Jesse bought it, another guy got on it at the same time. So that protected the price of it a little bit. And but I think Jesse's he's had good luck with it.
Yeah, he drove it up. He did. Yeah, Colton's right. He drove it down and shipped Shawana to Midwest Winter Nationals. I think that COVID year, 21 or 20, probably 21, I think, Dad, will be my guess on that. So, yeah, a lot of stuff here.
That was a well-built tractor.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun. See, I know you always wanted a 1066, and you got one. Fun. Let's see here. Mark Kaltenhauser, he runs around to Esden. He says, "Mike, what's your most memorable pull over all the years? Do you have any that stick out?"
Oh, I don't know so much. One that I'll never forget is the night Ernie died at Toma. Don't remember so much about the pull as far as that goes. Or a big group of us went up there. We rented a whole motel. And I remember Warren pulling out on the track and kind of maybe made his pass. And people came out and said, "Ernie," they found Ernie dead, or Ernie was walking across the pits and died. And just everybody was in absolute shock and disbelief. My favorite pulls probably were back in the ECI day when we would start hard, like it maybe we'd go to Maquoketa, Dubuque, New Vienna. That push would start, kind of depending on where you were at with the points race. And we always had very good luck at Maquoketa because you could run hard and fast there. and Dubuque was always usually a good pull for us. And had a lot of good luck up in New Vienna too, really. But a lot of times Gary and Dan had took it off to pull in the NTPA by then. So we would take Heiderscheids and us would go into New Vienna or Blairstown. Whoever was going to win those was going to win the points. So as good of friends as we are, we knew something had to happen there. I remember one time I had a broken rod cap or something, and I knew it. So I backed up to the sled. I took it to Blairstown and backed up to the sled just to bump the chain to beat Lyle. All I had to do was hook and get 5 points or whatever it was. So I just bumped the sled and took her back to the trailer so that he couldn't take the 85 from us. So
No, that's good.
But the ECI, we had a lot of fun, and then the 3-Charger D21 was really starting to run pretty good, but we couldn't get enough movable weight on the front, and then the rear end, we were starting to have trouble with the rear end. It was spinning it was trying to spin the ring gear pinion right through the cast, and we just couldn't. So that's why I guess we decided to make the component, and then did that. So
Sean's watching from Kentucky tonight. Rotor Racing's watching on YouTube. They're watching from Texas. Yeah, well, thanks for joining us tonight. We're having a lot of fun. This is my dad. I talk about him all the time. This is the guy, Mike Schultz. He lives in Springville, Iowa. He'll be driving the new tractor a lot this summer. Again, we're gonna. We didn't get into Louisville. They'll probably make its debut with us. Well, Dad drove it up in Hillsdale, Michigan, and then but the Pullers Championship May 17th and May 18th, and I think we have 12 outlaw hooks for points this year, and then it'll be up to Doug Meisinger, which NTPA hooks we can go to that still fit the schedule, and he has time to work on both tractors. And obviously, we got to keep them running too. We all know how that goes. So, Chuck Fowler's checking in from Beaverville, Illinois. Let's go back to those West Central Iowa, East Central Iowa days. That was always a lot of fun because me living in Richland Center, driving down, and I got to know a lot of different pullers from those associations. I know that was just a couple of years, but who were some of those just names that, man, you just wish they were just tough. When they showed up, you're like, dang it. Who were some of those names over the years?
Well, Chris Mangelson, the Black 14 that he's got his son. He was just about impossible to beat. Schulte brothers, they were a little annoying from time to time.
Yeah.
Because that tractor ran good. They always had it weighted perfect.
It just always, I call that the Schulte, the Schulte hole shot. The first 75 feet, that thing will just bounce once, just soft, and it's gone. And the old Binder Express.
And Barry Pfeiffer, I kind of forget about him, but I bumped into him somewhere. He was a real nice fella. He kind of came up through that West Central group, and there was a guy that built a tractor one time that looked like a cat Challenger.
Dave Rumbold, the Caterpillar.
And I think that's how we met. I think that's how we met Barry Pfeiffer, through Schulte's. They knew him. And
what did Barry pull?
Well, don't hold me to it, but I think he might have bought Eric Meyer's D21, the old land that came from West Elau, and then he was tough with that. But then once they took the nitrous off of it, it didn't run near so good. And, and then he built, DeMars built him a John Deere that ended up at Wayne Lamoury's.
That's Fear the Deer.
Yeah, Fear the Deer. And
Eric Meyer had that for a couple of years. Right?
Yeah, he had it for a couple of years. And so those were some good ones. Those were very tough tractors.
Sean, is your dad a reserve driver or full send type? No, he's a full send type. He doesn't mess around. Telling you people right now, if I would let my dad drive the 4-1, the Remedy 4-1 a lot more, it would have done way better. But I needed to drive it one year. So that's how that goes. Mark Ulmer. Holy cow, Ulmer's in the house.
Holy cow.
Here from Snowy Meadow. Give me some Mark Ulmer stories and memories, Dad.
Well, I've never really liked him, so what could I say about him? You
Well, you
know,
still got stories, so.
because that's what he'd say about me.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of stories about Mark other than good memories. I think we've been good friends for several years, and I think he's one of the true professionals and just a very, very, very good man. And
One of my favorite memories in the last couple of years, because we've been wanting to do the super stock thing again and get it right this time around. And I think we did the right thing. We did, because my singer's helping us, and he's the man. And I called him and said, "Hey, Mike wants to sell me his tractor." He said, "You jump on that." So I felt good about that. The night we were in Wisner, the Friday night before I blew it up in 22, I walked in the trailer and you were sitting in there with Esden and Dagenhart and Ulmer and Doug. Who else was in that trailer, Dad? That was just freaking awesome to see all you guys sitting there.
It was a little, might have got a little fuzzy because Meisinger always, for some reason, always wants to supply the beer. And over the years, I've tried to buy him a 6-pack and he won't let me.
Yeah.
So I just drink his,
Right? Anybody that knows my dad knows he's full of shit. And this is like the running joke every time you want me to buy beer? And he'll buy a 6-pack and he'll take one out and give him a 5-pack. It's there's a lot of good stories, and the more people
well,
get
a
to be
lot
around
of times
Dad.
I drink 5 and give them 1 can is actually
That's what it is.
I will tell you graciousness of Mark Ulmer. I didn't know Doug like I do today, and I'm glad. But when we were struggling with the 4-Charger tractor, Mark called me one time and graciously said, "I will stick my fingers in there and help you if you'd like to." And I said, "Mark, I just don't have the money. Farming on its butt, and I think I'm just going to have to pass." But that always meant a lot that he would call and take time out of his busy schedule. As many people know, he does a lot of work on a lot of other people's stuff, despite how he looks, and how gracious it was for him to call and say, "We need to keep some super stocks in there and I'd give you a hand." And I've never forgot that, but just a true friend. Good guy.
So my singer said, brings the 6-packs and drinks 12.
Well, actually, this summer I'm going to bring a refrigerator. I have a refrigerator and I keep it full of beer. So I'll be bringing it.
So I haven't told you this yet, but the trailer I bought that my singer's making all fancy, where he's going to put a big TV on it. We're going to be the hangout trailer for the Superstock guys. Hopefully there's more than 4 or 5 of us. So
yeah, I see. But of course I probably will quit drinking, and behave myself a little more. So,
well, it's up to you.
Yeah.
The mayor of Marengo, Iowa. So Travis used to be my hero in the diesel superstock world, but he's not anymore. My singer is now number 1. And Travis, he accepts that. And but I still want to put I still want to get a billboard, Dad, outside of Marengo, Iowa. It says birthplace of Jason Schultz, Mayor Travis Schlabaugh. We're working on that. We're working through the permits and stuff like that. I think that'd be fun. So, but Travis says, "Mike, I'm looking forward to pulling against you this summer. Please take it easy on me." Yeah, that's funny, Travis.
Funny.
That's why we're bringing Mike. That's why we're bringing my singer with us, Travis, because you two can beat each other up. So we just want to have fun for a while here.
There's a lot of good memories with that guy too, Travis. Good, another good fella.
Yeah. Tell some of his, because he didn't start on a super stock. He had a super farm, didn't he? Back the Dig and Bone or something back in the day.
Well, I think it's the tractor Robbie Carruthers kind of ended up with through, Mark Miller, Hussey, maybe, and then Boots bought it. Travis might have bought it.
Yep.
And then maybe not Mark Miller, the excavating guy, the nice guy that's from Ringo, Brian
Miller. Brian got into Louisville, Dad.
I think he sold it, and I think Brian's tractor came out of Missouri. The guy that passed away unexpectedly. That was so funny.
Rodney Knott.
Rodney Knott. Yes, I think that's where Brian's tractor came from. But we were down at Healy's one night, wanting to go to Gordyville with your tractor and mine. And it was cold. I mean, it was 30 below zero. And Travis and Healy were there. And we slipped it back together, and something about the throwout bearing wasn't quite right. And it was like 9:30 and it was cold. And I said, boys, we're going home. And I remember Travis looking at me and said, the hell you are. We've been working on this son of a bitch for 3 or 4 nights and you're going. And they jumped right in there and reached in there and got that throwout carrier out of there. And Travis took it over on some machine and made it fit and back together. And we had it blown in about an hour and 10 minutes later. Those guys know what they're doing. Not good help. We put a slip in it. So.
Yeah, I was talking to Travis last week, and he said Healy's got 5 or 6 tractors that he works on in Louisville this year, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Another well-respected fella. So.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this is a good question. What's your most memorable story about traveling to or from a pull? I want to go first on this one. So Dad lived in Bremen, Indiana for a number of years working for Prince, and I lived in Wisconsin. We still kept blackjack in the ECI points races. And Dad and I would take turns going back, and Coonrod would help us get the tractor to the pulls. Him and Donnie and I were heading like way southern Iowa or western Iowa, and Coonrod uses every minute of every day. Sweet man, but he will, if we don't leave at 6:30, he'll leave at 6:45. Well, I got to his house and we got going, and we're heading down to I-80 down by Brooklyn, I think, Dad, or Williamsburg, and the damn exhaust caught onto a spare tire and started fire, and somebody pulled up on us next to an interstate, and we got off on entry ramp and unhooked the truck from the trailer, and he pulled ahead and cranked those jacks down, and we didn't make it to the pool that night. So that was a crazy story. So
yeah, you were going down somewhere because we left the tractor Dan Reeder's at south of Guernsey, or right north of Guernsey rather. Yeah. Right off the state there. Yeah. Oh, I think traveling around probably one of the best things, just probably for Jason and I was those father-son times. That divorce was hard. I guess it's a fact of life. And it happened, but it sure kept us together and gave us the reason to do something. And Debbie, my wife now, said, you can pull tractors as long as you want, as long as you don't get us in financial trouble. And we only had one fast, quick rule as times changed a little bit. Never open a bill from Simpson Performance. that was don't ever open a bill. So, but no, she supported me throughout this, and that's a wonderful thing, as many people know, when your spouse helps you and the family. And I think back to the Omer thing a little bit, or Doug. Well, you're around Doug Meisinger. You're like family. I mean, as we got to know each other over a few year period, as I was drinking his free beer, I thought, this is a pretty good guy. But I think when people talk about a pulling family, they really mean it, because you go out and you make solid friends that pat each other on the back, compete against each other, and will take parts off and give them to you. I mean, how unreal is that? You know, if possible, they'll almost no matter at what level. What I did like about the 4-1s, or what I really liked about Superstock, and Travis and I've talked about this, it's run what you brung. To me, the lower horsepower they are, the more bitching there is. And the 4-1s, that year we run yours hard in the Outlaws. Gosh, nobody complained. We just all went and hooked. We pulled, we left. Went to the next pull, hooked, pulled to left. And I like that, rather than, oh, so-and-so's got this cut on his tire and he shouldn't have that. And then, of course, with Superstock, you take all that out of the equation. It's if you can get on the track and hook and get the sled tight, you're going to go. And
that's one thing Travis talks about too with the NTPA. Dad, like on a 2-day hook, you know, after the Friday night hook, Travis and those guys they'll go from trailer to trailer to make sure what's the filter look like, how we looking for tomorrow, what do you need, you know, as they know they need to keep every tractor that they can on the track. So do you remember when Pro Stock kind of took over from Super Stock? Was there a time frame at all? Or Travis, if you're watching, or anybody like that, I mean, were the Alki tractor kind of the demise of the Super Stock class? And I'm not giving up on the Super Stock class, obviously, and I think we're going to reinvent it, and within 5 years we're going to see a lot more, because you can build a badass diesel super, Dad, for as much as these guys are spending on Pro Stocks, and my singer can, you know, definitely tell you that for as well. Logan, shut up. And just trying to figure all that out there. So I don't know. Was there
I think they all did that, but I think before the pros got running like they did today, a lot of people just gave up on the multi-charger tractors. They were a little hard to run, of course, and we found that out, I guess, quite frankly, the hard way. There was a lot more to it than that. The other thing would be, I asked Esden one time. I bumped into him at, Ellsworth or somewhere. We took the old black 10 up there, and RJ and I went up there with Schultz. We went up with Gary and Dan, and we parked by each other. And Esden was there, and I think he asked me why I kind of gave up on that white tractor, and I said, "Gosh, Esden, it was way more than I thought, and I flat ran out of money. I said, what has made you do this all these years?" And he said, "Gosh, Mike, I guess I don't know anything else." I mean, and you stop and think about it. I don't know that Esden's for years has always pulled multi-charger tractors, you know, so it's all he knew. But I think there was a time when those guys were building Pro Stocks a lot less dollars than supers. But then when they started coming out with better parts and bigger pumps and bigger chargers, we know the top tier Pro Stocks, there's no dogs. There's no dogs.
No.
And that puts some separation in it, you know. But the Pro Stocks always ran good, you know. But probably 4.1 is kind of where they took off from, you know. And then just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger, you know. Maybe 4.5s or whatever they were running. I don't know at the time, you know.
No, it's been fun to kind of watch that grow, and that makes sense. There was a time when you could build a Pro Stock probably cheaper than a super, but I think they're probably heads up now. You know, I have to really dive into that, but I've been told you don't get on a Pro Stock today less than $500,000. Again, that's turnkey delivered to your door. I don't know if anybody's watching tonight that can confirm that or not, but hey, your brother Dave's watching tonight, Dad, on LinkedIn. Way to go, Uncle Dave.
Really? When Pro Stock was growing, you know, I think Esden told me they ran 436 tractors for years and spent little or no money on them. And over the years, as I got to know Max, you know, I don't know what they were running. He was out of pulling when I got to know him, but gosh, those guys would go out. He said, I can remember going up to Elkhorn, Wisconsin, having 27 tractors in our class, 27 supers. And Esden said, like the 414s, 436s, maybe 466s, they just ran and ran and ran. I mean, certainly they weren't making the horsepower they are now. Mark Gettinger would tell you that, gosh, there was a time we didn't spend a lot of money, you know, pulling them. So they were pretty popular, you know.
Yeah. Omer says, I would think when the diesel split the blocks and the 4-bolt block came out, the pros really went forward. So there's so much boost in that diesels are splitting blocks, I guess, would be I don't know what year that would have been.
That sure could be, but there was a lot of blocks that went kaboom till Hyper come out with their block.
Yeah.
And, that was
Travis says 12 years ago when I started, I was told, so that would have been 2011. 12 years ago when I started, I was told many times no one can make 3 work. You got to have 4. Jody and I worked those first couple of years to prove them wrong. The winter that I won, all the winter hooks opened a lot of eyes. My credit goes to Hypermax and Healy. Yeah, he went to Gordyville, Cloverdale, Louisville, won it all. I remember that this is where Travis had it painted like it is today. Because I was announcing at Gordyville, and they let him jump into the pro stock class, Dad. And I don't think they ever, because he said he just wanted some test passes. I don't think they ever let him back in there again. So
Yeah,
Robbie Russell would be a good Jerry's wine member, Trav's right hand man. Robbie Russell would be a good man to ask. Yeah, we talked about that on his interview, Dad. I did Chapel Hill. It's on the Full Pull website. He talked about when he went from super to pro. I should go back and watch that video.
Yeah, I remember for Travis's, the first time, I think maybe the first time he pulled his Tacoma, he may have won. I know the tractor wasn't painted. And I came out of the grandstands and ran back to talk to him. And he says, I'm not even sure what to do other than I just got to go call Healy. Because I won. You know, I mean, he beat Blade Graves. He beat all the top dogs, you know. And he said, I just got to go call Healy. I'll catch you later, you know. So that was quite a time for him, you know, as that tractor was coming together, you know. Probably good memories for him and his family as well, you know.
Oh, yeah. My singer said Stray Horse, I think, was always a 3-charger setup.
Yeah, it was. It was always 3. Yeah.
Because Doug's 4. We're going to be 3. I'm trying to think. Is Matt 3 or is he 4? Goodwin.
Well, I don't know if we could tell. I know, but I can't really tell you because, you know.
Okay.
So.
Bryant Havenstrite. I remember when I was younger, about 15 years ago, going to Cooney and you guys to the polls, always had a blast. I don't remember. Do you recognize that name? Bryant Havenstrite? He's watching on YouTube.
Not right off the top of my head, no.
My singer says Goodwin is 3. So.
Oh, so Doug let the cat out of the bag. See, I was gonna act like I knew something. Then Doug, see, there he goes, putting me down already. So that's what it's all summer. And I told him I'm gonna just stick close to Jeanette because she's not like him at all. You know.
But my singer's 4, Trav's 4 now, right? Colin Ross is 4, aren't they?
No, they're 3s.
They're 3s? Okay.
Yep.
Well, what's Super Rooster then? Is he 3? I think so, or is he 4?
I think he's 3, but I don't know that. I think he's 3.
All right.
But
Brian, who's going to name the new tractor, Dad or Jason? Brian, I am, and Dad's going to drive it. Those are the rules. So that's how that works. So.
Well, I'm going with High Tech Remedy. That's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, Allison Schlaball wants me. Somebody said Remedy 21 tonight. I kind of like that.
She said what?
No, Allison likes Redneck Remedy, she told me. And that's something we talked about our pulling family earlier. The wives that go to the polls and really get into it. Allison's a super fan. And when Trav broke it, Rockwell this year, and he looked at me and says, Schultz, I'm testing tires the rest of the year. And when they weren't at the Enderley, I mean, they were there because Travis, him and Allison support that class. They go everywhere. But she was bummed that, that the Bone Twister wasn't there, and the fans were too. But you could see it in her eyes. She wasn't her normal crazy Allison that, I stood next to her at Chapel Hill when she was recording, and she gets just as nervous as well. I don't know if Trav gets too nervous. Doesn't show it if he does. But Allison, she wears her emotions on her sleeve. And I love seeing that. I love seeing the spouse get it just as bad. Doug says triple bypass. Yeah, they can name it whatever they want, Borth, but, they can put more chargers on there. So Rooster is 3. Okay. Yeah, they know that because Danner's Rooster Motorsports works on their super farm. Travis says Rooster, Ross, me are all 3. Burge and Blade Graves will die with 4.
Yeah. Blade Graves will, and Esden's still 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And Dave Hendrickson, if he'd come back out with his white one, I think he was on 4 chargers. Pretty sure.
So if you're watching, we got a lot of people watching. Give me some names for the tractor. So Dad likes High Tech Remedy. I want to pay some homage to the Becks, you guys. I could not do this without Mike and Sally.
Well, that's why I'm going High Tech Remedy, because it changes it over to you, but it leaves quite a nice compliment to Beck's.
Well, and the High Tech's been around a long time because that originally was Jody Ross's tractor. He sold it to Mike. Then Mike sold it to one guy for 1 year. Then I think it went back to Jody Ross. And I think it was what Beck told me. And then now that's the M80 tractor, the original high-tech redneck. Because Mike built this tractor in 15 and 16, is I think were the exact times, the time frames on it, Dad. The one that we have now. So Redneck Remedy Reloaded. I gotta have Remedy in it, guys, because we've built that brand. It is gonna look like the 4-1. It's gonna be white. I just don't have gotta get all that figured out here in the next. No, we'll start working on that this week. Doug and I are gonna get together on that. Jason Skillen says 80 or 81. That's a pro stock class took off. I feel like, Dad, not enough people have seen a diesel super, because you honestly only get to see a really badass class of it. And I love the Outlaws, obviously, but when you go to an NTPA Grand National or like a Pullers Championship or like a Louisville, but even at Louisville, you only get to see 6 of them now. I love pro stocks and I love Womp Womp, but there is not a better freaking sound in the world, Dad, than multi-chargers lighting. I have a video. I mean, I always stay at the starting line like at Toma, and I got a video of my singer, Dad, with Scrappy up in Sac City, Iowa, or Western Iowa, and just watching those twin stacks and the smoke start turning from, it's just the best feeling in the world. I just think more people need to see that. I think they'd be, but we don't have, really, where do you get to see diesel supers? NTPA Grand National, and the Outlaws had a shitty showing for supers last year. Doug won the points, but he didn't have his best year, and then that's just how it goes. Still a lot of guys are waiting on parts. I still keep hearing that. Just blows me away. But I don't know. I love the class. Love it.
I don't think there's any sound in the world like Travis's or Doug's or Mark Ulmer's little weapon.
Yeah.
When them tractors clean out, I'm telling you, there's no sound in the world like that.
Yeah.
Even the pros. I mean, they got that big deep throat, the big cubes, but those supers, when they clean out and they're ready to go, there's no sound in the world like that. That whoosh, boy, shit's gonna happen. I know that.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, this Lyman Russell wants me to call it the high-tech loan shark. I love that name. But it'll have some Schultz mortgage team on it, but not that we're not going to. Maybe I'll put loan shark in parentheses a little bit. So remember, yeah, I really do like high-tech Remedy. I really do. I think that's probably, if that's what you like, I like it. It gives them, like I said, pays good homage to the Becks and that high-tech name. So
yeah,
I love it. I read some comments, Dad, on Facebook and YouTube, people giving me shit because I bought it. I didn't build it. And I kind of giggle. I love the comments, and I get it. But we're on the track now versus the chassis that we had is coming. It's ready. They're going to start on it in 2 weeks. Do you know what I mean? So there's no way in hell we would have been out next year. You know what I mean? And Doug even said that. And that's when Mike came up to me at the Enderley. It was 1 a.m. I was hanging out with Jeff Hurt. That always is a good time. And I thought Mike Beck was joking, and that's why I didn't say a word to anybody. And then Hurt called me Sunday night after the Enderley. He goes, "Hey, Beck was serious about that." And I said, "Well, then you tell Mike to call me, because I'm not calling Mike Beck saying, I know we were having some drinks. Can I really buy your tractor?" But Monday afternoon, he called me, and I said, "I got to make one phone call." And I called my singer, and he says, "You buy that tractor." And then I tried to hide it from you for a while because I wanted to surprise you.
Yeah,
and then,
you did.
And then Colin Ross called me one day, about 2 weeks later, and goes, "Hey, there's a rumor going around." And I said, "Oh, what's that?" And then I called you. I called my singer and said, "Hey, I got to tell Dad." And, I was trying to get you into Louisville. And I called Mike Witt, and he's like, "Man, we got to get your dad on that seat once, to even consider it." Because it finished 6th in the Grand National points. So I thought we had a chance to get into Louisville. And that's why I called you. And I'd already called Greg Carson, who you farm with. And I'm like, "Hey, Greg, I need somebody to run Dad's combine the end of September." Because I had called Beck. Said, "Mike, find a hook close to your house." And then I asked Matt Goodwin and Doug to come out, and it was a great time. I just wish and if I known we were going to pull exhibition, Dad, I wish we would have ran earlier in the night.
Yeah,
there was a huge crowd there. It was awesome.
Yeah, they let us on the pack track, right from the end. But
yeah,
they even surprised Mike and Sally when they said, "Oh, that's a component you can't run." And he said,
"Oh, we had to change the hitch, and we didn't want to change anything. I wanted you to run it like you're going to run it in the summer." So
yeah, you knew that was a component before we got on the scale. What are you telling me that for? So
yeah,
this misunderstandings, but yeah, that was a nice event too. Meeting the Becks, going with Doug and Matt, and yeah, those are the memories that stick with you for a long time. And make pulling fun. Good.
Smoke and Mirrors, Raymond's tractor has an awesome sound. Has he been out in a while? I don't even know if he has or not. I'd have to go through, look at the results. Trav's watching. I don't know if he's been, but that always ran good when he was out.
For a long time. He's got a little different setup than like Travis and those guys. I'm not sure what it is. Seems like maybe he's got some bigger cubes, but different stages. But I might be wrong. I don't know.
540 is the limit in our class.
Okay, so
Hendrickson's tractor is now a light pro. I believe the new owners haven't signed up for the Midwest Winter Nationals. It's being wrenched out. No, that's the cast ass. That I've been told, again, Wade. I don't know, but Wade's watching on YouTube. I've been told that the component's still sitting in Dave's shop. I've been told that, but I don't know if that's true or not.
It is. That's the one in Lights Pro is the original Straight Horse or Robbie Russell tractor, which is where our Sigma pump came from. That was on our tractor. That was Rob Russell's early Sigma pump, because when I sent that back to Hypermax, Jeff out there called me right away and said, "Where'd you get this pump from?" And I said, "Well, it came off Dave Hendrickson or the Stray Horse." He says, "I've been looking for this pump for I don't know how long, wondering where it ended up. And I'm telling you right now, the fuel delivery valve or the fuel delivery valve or whatever was broke. The rest of that pump looks as good as the day we built it. So I'm going to set it on wide open fuel for you, put that new fuel delivery thing in it, and send it back to you." And
5 years, Trav says 5 years ago, diesel superstock was the highest cost to maintain all year. Now we have found some longevity, and pros have upped their cost to maintain above us. Don't worry, we'll take that prize back over. Laugh out loud. So no, diesel super. I'm telling you, fans, if you've never been close to a diesel super, when they go down the track, it's awesome. And Dad mentioned that whoosh, and I only got to drive Dad's blackjack double down once, and I watched so many diesel supers. I was ready to push the clutch back in a little bit. When I saw the smoke starting to turn white, I knew I didn't have it wound up enough, and I just pushed that clutch back in a little bit and made a pass on it. I ended up burning all 6 pistons, but I made a pass on it, so that was fun. So, but no, I really want to put a spotlight on the diesel super class, bring some numbers back. You know, Dad, we're going to have 2 in a trailer. Obviously, My Singers is one of the best in the country, without a doubt. I mean, that nobody would deny that.
it is.
And when we roll in with R2, it's going to be fun. You know, that's 2 more tractors at a Grand National NTPA. You know what I mean? So that's going to be fun. And then hopefully we can do a little back and forth, get Trav and the guys to come out to like a Wisner. Well, they can't go to Wisner because that's Bowling Green, but maybe a Rock Valley or something like that, Dad. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, well, it's all about time and family time and not being out. You know, the guys are tired, probably want to stay home once in a while. And
Trav says John Raymond was in Bowling Green this year. He has 4 Chargers, but he's 3 into 1. So just 2 stages then, right? Is that what that means?
I think I've heard that he was 3 into 1, and yeah, because he could only have 2 stage or something. I'm not sure. I don't know what that's all about.
Wyatt Schulte, yeah. So William Lumberg, Dad's a big Bowling Green fan, and they changed the rules how they're doing the campgrounds this year. And he says if I had a tractor at Bowling Green, I'd name it "No Wristband Required." So he's just having fun tonight. William's a good dude. Wyatt says Cast Ass is going to Midwest Winter Nationals. Component is still sitting. Yeah, I'd heard that too. Sean Wirt, he's building a pro stock right now. What is our weight class? Is it 82 or is it 8,000? I don't even know. 82 or 8,000? Do you know?
No, I don't know for sure, but I really don't. So
Travis will enlighten us. Our Outlaws, or Doug's watching still too. I wonder if our Outlaws and NTPA the same. I feel like it's always been 82, but I feel like it's 8,000 for some reason. I don't even know. Do you remember what you weighed at Hillsdale?
No, I don't.
It's 82. Okay.
So I think
my singer says 82 Outlaw, 8,000 NTPA. So. 82, Doug. So when we lose 200 pounds, I know we got plenty of movable weight on our tractors. So It's all good. Let's see here. Where did the 4-charger blackjack end up? So Dad got the perfect 10 from Van Beek. Van Beek's got that, and they campaigned it. Now they're gonna. I don't know if they're turning that into a pro stock, Dad, or if that chassis is still sitting. I think Meisinger knows more about it, but they're done with it being a diesel super after they blew it up in Whitewright, Texas. That was a big video. Taylor was on it, and she did the big kabang there. Remedy's Revenge.
What they've done with it.
Yeah. Didn't lessons. Okay, Gettinger. Didn't lesson learn run 3 into 1 at one time also? I don't know. I know he's alcohol now. I don't know if Mark would know that or if Travis would know that. Yeah, here we go. This is the shit I like. Schlabot says 8,000 NGPA. Mike might want to look at a diet program. He's calling you fat, Dad, just so you know. In case you're a little slow.
Well, I wish I could argue with him, but after Thanksgiving, all you guys were here, and then I had to pay garbage can all week. I had to eat all the pie and shit that was left.
Yep.
And then I really started slimming down, and then now Christmas is here again. So I think I'm 8 or 10 ounces down over the year, so it's pretty quick. And of course, I'm kind of a fitness guru, so
right.
A lot of mornings I walk. Well, the house, luckily the garage is attached, so I walk clear out to the pickup and get in it, and then go up and do chores, and stuff. So my life is very hectic, very hectic. A lot of stuff going on. So that little rabbit ass Mark Fisher texted me and said, "Were we going to the show clean?" And so far, I think we've done a good job. I got some stuff I'd like to say about that little prayer. I'm not going to, so just going to let it go.
Hey, Dad, I got to take a leak, so Sarah's gonna take over for a little bit.
Whoa.
Oh. Howdy, y'all.
Hi, Sarah.
How are you?
Well, very good. How are you?
I'm fine. What'd you end up doing today?
We ended up going to Greg and Sarah's and got to catch up with Haley Debbie had either one of her little babies, little Owen and Ivy. And,
okay.
We hadn't seen Greg and Sarah's new house.
Okay.
And so, we had a nice day.
Awesome.
Because the weather's really been nice here today, rain and cold. Well, it's not real cold. It was 51. No. I got soaked doing chores. So
lovely.
Yeah. So do you have a technical question you'd like to ask the people about tractor pulling? I'm guessing the technical
I'm almost afraid to ask, quite frankly.
Yeah, I'd leave it alone too.
Yeah. It's better that the less I know, the better it is for everyone.
Yes. Yep, that's the way to do it. Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Well, you did. I have some early years of you coming down with that son of mine. When we started.
Yeah, my memory from my first tractor pull, it was 20, and it was Springville.
Yeah.
And somebody asked me if my husband was pulling.
Really?
20 years old. I said, no, my boyfriend's father is, but no, not me.
Yeah,
no.
It came down to that. We were sure glad Jason hung on to you for the most part,
Oh.
So we think he's done okay with you. So.
Yeah, well, I've done okay with him. Thank you for sharing him with me.
Oh, okay, good.
Okay.
Well, you're in the family or whatever.
I have your pool table now, so I'm in for the long
haul.
Look at the comments. This just got way better. Ratings just skyrocketed. Yeah, this is my wife, guys. Because I get a lot. How did you get her all the time?
Yeah, this is your
I'm
wife.
in sales.
At the end of Christmas Day. So Merry Christmas, y'all. Bye-bye.
Yeah. Let's see here. It's the whiskey. I can help you with the diet plan. Dylan Babel
Well,
says all that. Yeah, I got this is the original, the Few, the Proud, the Orange hat. That's Dad's tractor on there, blackjack. And I got the original T-shirt on tonight too, the Schultz Pulling Team blackjack. So
people really liked those hats when we had those hats. I still got a couple, I think. It was good hat.
This is the last one I have. So Mark says he can help you with the diet plan. Well, Mark drives a light super, Dad, so that's for real. So that's for real.
Well, I'll probably start here shortly. A little bit of workout and things like that. Yeah. So, I feed the calves twice a day. Nobody gives credit for that.
Yeah, there you go.
You know, so.
Yeah, Barry. So at about 250 feet, typically is when the pan drops on the sled. And there's grouser bars. You'll hear the announcers talk about those underneath that. And that's really what starts putting the hurting on. You're going to stop in the next 50 to 75 feet or so, typically on a normal track. That's how that works. Yeezy, yes, my wife's a babe. I know this. Travis, my ratings just skyrocketed. I like it. Show just went up in viewers. Nice change on the eyes for us viewers. Not that we don't love Jason. Oh, thanks, Bill. Dad, are you drinking whiskey? Are you drinking whiskey, Dad? Robert Yeisley wants to know. So
yes, tell him yes. It's Black Velvet and Diet Coke.
Okay.
And I only intended to have one, but Debbie brought me another one.
Okay.
Well, that's really, quite frankly, I'm kind of becoming a star now.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, I mean, you're on Let's Go Pulling, Dad.
Yeah, I'm on Let's Go Pulling, and people are pumping me up, and that. And, you know, when I got measured for the fire suit, the lady says, "Man, you have a small waist." I said, "Well, thank you." So, kind of nice of her to say, you know, that 32s, man. I said, "Well, they're a little tight, but they'll be okay." So.
Oh, shoot. Doug Meisinger says, guess we'll move the roll cage up front if the diet doesn't get started. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I agree with him. I agree with him, yeah.
Ryan DeBrew, Jason outkicked his coverage. Congratulations. Yeah, Crystal's beautiful too, Ryan, so I don't think you can talk too much there, but that's all good. Yeah, we'll start having a segment, 5 minutes with Sarah every Monday night. Just, guys can ask my wife questions like that. That's a good idea. So. I like it.
I wouldn't do it. They'd embarrass her. They'll embarrass her. They'll try to embarrass her.
I guarantee you're not the only one drinking tonight while you're doing the show. That's actually what a lot of people do. There's many people having an adult beverage right now, especially Christmas night. So it's all good.
Yeah.
Except for the guy in charge. I'm drinking water. So.
A couple years ago, I had to take the beef quality assurance test or whatever on the computer to deliver cattle to Tama, and the guy telling me about it said, "Oh, just mix yourself a drink and go down there and take it." Hell, it took about a fifth to get through it because it was long and it sucked. So
yeah,
but you had to do that to do that. So yeah. Well, tractor pulling's been part of your and I life then for like 31 or so years was when this all started, because Debbie and I have been married 32.
You got married now with 6. You guys got married now with 16.
Yeah, and she graciously let me buy the tractor the next year.
Do you ever see Mike LaBarge anymore?
Yeah, on and off, yep. Retired from the post office, doing good, helps a carpenter. Still likes to go to polls, but does not want to own one. He did not like owning one, I think. So I think he realized the money it took, and he was one of those guys that it really bothered. So
yep.
And
Dylan, I just put the link. We do have a few of the Proud the Orange t-shirts still. It's on our website. I just put the link in the chat. Otherwise, just go to beermoneypullingteam.com, click on gear, and it's called the Proud Tee. And it's got the Few of the Proud the Orange on it still. Let's see, Chad Elliott. What's some of the most memorable names you've come across over the years? I love the Red Baron and the Iron Elk. Those are the two. And then who was Emo Murta? Was that Betty's Headache? Or was that
no, they were two separate guys, but my probably all-time favorite would, of course, be Rops, just because of, for whatever reason, one of them, but John Klug. Pretty hard. At the time we started going to pools, when Klug showed up, everybody else might as well went to the trailer. Because he was going to take them to the cleaners. Ron Emil Murta was from Fairfax, and he always pulled mod tractors.
Which one was the crazy one, Dad? Like, he was like the Jeff Hurt of the day.
That
One time at the fair.
That was Emil.
Okay, one time at the fair, didn't he have it in reverse when he took off?
Yeah, he backed right up on the sled one night at the Iowa State Fair.
Yeah.
And then one time down at Washington, Iowa, they had serviced a tractor. And you had to know Emil, but they started it. And they started the rear motor. And when they started the front motor, it didn't have any oil pressure or low or something. And he yelled out, you could hear it all over the whole place. Put some GD oil in that SOB. And guys ran out there with jugs of oil, and they just start dumping oil in it. And it couldn't have hit the pump or the pan. And he hit the switch and pulled it down the track. I mean, he didn't even take a breath. They hardly had time to put the caps back on the valve covers.
Yeah, for those of you watching, put in some of your most memorable and pulling names over the years. But yeah, that would be mine. Was always just Iron Elk and the Red Baron. Those were mine.
Yeah, Ron Headley pulled Betty's Headache.
Yep.
Out of Fairfield, down in there somewhere, and then his in-laws were Jerry and Betty Fornash. Nice people. The Lurch, they pulled Allison, the last I remembered.
Well, I think Fornash's have a two-wheel drive Jeepers Creepers now. Or is that Crockshaw or shoot?
Oh, that's
Workshaw.
Yeah.
Workshaw.
Bob Chickering, he had a mod down by Bloomfield, which oddly enough, Matt Goodwin told me him and Dennis bought that tractor, I think, for a while, and we're either going to run a mod or do something, and then they sold it. But I don't hold me to that. But I think Dennis bought Bob Chickery's tractor. And of course, one of the best around, or just great guy, Marvin Hovden, old Woody. He pulled a time, and Doug Ham pulled the Smog Frog.
Yeah, I love the Smog Frog. That was a cool name.
Yeah,
that's fun. There was so many D21s. If I would have known we would have had a D21 someday, or you would have, I would have been so much more. I don't know, but there were so many D21s back in the day. It was neat. Jeff Hurt had posted a picture of he found an old One Mean Alice, one of Max Simpson's t-shirts, original t-shirts from the day.
Oh, Mean Old Alice, yeah.
Yeah, Mean Old Alice. Yeah, Mean Old Alice. He posted that on Facebook. That was kind of neat to see that. Travis Hallbaugh says, make sure you keep his feet inside the frame rails and moving the cage forward. Yeah, that was a deal with the mini rods this year on Slaw's tractor. I like that. Sean Knopp says, start a show with just the pullers' wives telling about the shit they let us get by with. I don't know if that'd be pretty good. Be more divorces, probably, Sean. So we don't want that.
Yeah, there was a lot of good Iowa pullers at one time. That was a good group of guys. And I don't know what happened, if it just kind of slowed down or what happened. And then,
yeah, the state fair was that was my accumulation of the summer, Dad. The Iowa State Fair and the old grandstands. I feel like we always went back to school. We started school before Labor Day back then. And I always feel like we had to go to school almost like the next day after the state fair. But Monticello, Iowa used to be a freaking monster pull. I remember when you worked in Marion, we lived in Victor. I would go to work with you for the day, and then we'd go to the Monticello pull at night. I think that's going Western Series this year. They talked about it at the Badger State banquet. So.
Yeah.
Awesome hearing a father and son talk about pulling. Reminds me when I growing up in the 80s, pulling with my daddy and grandpa in Northeast Iowa Pulling Association. Northeast Iowa Pulling Association.
Yeah, there was a nice organization going up there too, but they were part of the ITPA. I think Dave Venrabes and Vasky and Hinton and all those guys back when they were pro stocks. Randy Hinton and Daryl Vasky had a pro stock for a while. Early on, and Dave Vainreb had a 4-charger tractor, and I think they pulled up there in that I think it was called Northeast Iowa Pullers.
Was Dane Reb's tractor the Barnstormer?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if it was Jerry Hart's or not. So
Southern. Oh, Robert Miner likes Southern Bell. Yeah, Wyatt confirms it was Workshaw's. They have Jeepers Creepers. They got a 2-wheel drive T-bucket now.
yeah,
Mike, did you ever pull in Bethany, Missouri? It's his dad's favorite pull back in the heydays. That was a big ass pull.
I'm going to step away for just a second too, and I'll be right back.
All right. Dad, did you ever pull in Bethany, Missouri? I don't think you did. I think we went and watched.
No, I went and watched, but never.
So it's time to take a leak. He doesn't have anybody take his spot. Thanks for watching tonight, guys. We'll wrap this up here in a few minutes when Dad comes back. Mark Ulmer says, yes, too tall. He drove the mod. Morgan says, Dave Van Rub, never saw him pull, but tractor looked pretty good. Yeah, I don't remember what that was called. Randy Proctor, the mean old Alice. Andy Leonard says, Lee Elward and Henry Piper. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Mark Ham, the Smog Frog. I love that name of that tractor. Went to a lot of them. Yeah, you did, Skillen. You go to all of them, big guy. Yeah, Uncle Paul. I'll get that picture up of Betty's headache there. Ray Tellen, Northeast Iowa Dirt Slingers was the name of the club I remember. Yeah, Northeast Iowa Dirt Slingers.
Bethany at one time, that was a big pull. Bethany and Kirksville. They had big tractor pulls.
Barnstormer was Jerry Hart. Went to a lot of North Central Iowa pulls. Yeah, I never heard of North Central Iowa pullers until tonight.
Yeah, that's the one that they used to put the Nashville one on there when George announced that for him. And a lot of times, one time he stopped and picked us up at Victor. We went up with him to that.
I always like going to Sigourney too, that 4th of July. I just did a home loan for somebody in Sigourney, and they bought a house down there, and I thought that was funny. I used to love going down there and doing that. That was fun.
Sigourney always had a good pull, but I think maybe when Travis kind of started out with his super, he might have brought it to Sigourney one time when we were around there to get a pass on it. I don't know that for sure, but those guys were looking for places closer to home to hook them.
Yeah.
That was pretty good track. Sigourney's was a good track, nice venue, really. Yep. Overall. It was the NTPA pull first, or ITPA for a few years. And the ECI got in there. Yeah.
Mark Ham says, when I went to Bethany, Missouri in 74 as a kid, it was the biggest pull this side of the Mississippi. Seriously. Does Bethany still have a pull?
I don't think they even have one now. I don't know whether the group, some of them groups, you interviewed that gentleman, I think, from Bowling Green down at the PRI show.
Yeah.
50 years or something they're coming up on. Boy, that takes a lot of stamina, because the volunteers run out of gas and time.
Yeah.
They get older and the younger guys don't want to commit. And I wonder, I don't know much about Bethany, but it was the big dog. It was the big one. And
I've seen the sign. I've seen the sign going down 35. So for Bethany towards Winston down there, on your way to Kansas City.
Yeah, well, you're going right on 35. You're going right past Bethany, I think. Yeah, north of Kansas City, about 100 miles. But that was a big one. Yeah.
Uncle Paul sent a picture here of Emil Murta's tractor. I got to throw this up on the screen.
Yeah, if he's got that old puller book, he's got a lot of. Yeah.
Did you see that, Dad?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Emil. He had cancer, and I knew his wife Jan pretty well. And when he was building his last tractor, she said, I know that kept him alive a couple more years because he wanted to get that tractor done and drive it. And he was a farmer down by Fairfax. And Wild Emo. Yeah, he was crazy guy. He was like Jeff Hurt. Just when he got on it, the throttle was bent wide open. No,
Yeah.
there was no half throttle, no feather, nothing. Just whoa, and he was gone.
What the new tractor? What pulls are you looking forward to going to and hooking at with the Diesel Super? Because I still get kind of giddy when I look at pictures of it, and I can't believe I bought it. And I get a pull. We get a pull with the biggest names in pulling, and go to some venues. I'm super excited. I talk to my singer every day, try to anyway, and we just talk about stuff, and it's a lot of fun. But what are you looking forward to with the new tractor?
Well, I'd say Toma.
Yep.
Kind of always something about Toma. I guess Rockwell certainly turned into Rock Valley without question. Those stature of pulls like that. And certainly Toma. The State Fair,
Yep.
That's turning into, I think, a little better venue and track now that they've moved over there where they're at.
Yeah.
The Bowling Greens, what's the other one that kind of conflicts with the State Fair in Wisner,
Yep. That's Bowling Green.
Yeah. And so then you kind of make a decision of what's closer to home or, where you want to go, I suppose. And,
Yep.
But Rock Valley, I love Rock Valley. There's just something about Rock Valley. Ravenna, I think, would be kind of fun when we went out there. That was a good pull,
Yeah, we start our outlaw season in Ravenna this year, Dad. I think it's the 7th and 8th. Let me look at the...
Mark Omer was out there, and that's when we did that interview thing with Doug, and then it got lost somewhere.
Yep.
He was out there. So that's a good pull. It's a nice little, that's one thing about the Outlaws. It's unreal how they draw the people into some of these smaller, towns or venues, and then it just explodes with people,
Yeah.
And certainly Rock Valley's got to be one of the top pulls probably in the country, really, when you kind of stop and think about it,
Yeah.
In the top 4 or 5, I guess.
I feel like with the Outlaw Diesel Super this year, I mean, Scott Frankie's got a couple going, making some good passes. Matt's going to be around more. Us and Doug in the same trailer. Brad Campbell, he built that new one. He got into Louisville. He finished second in Outlaw points. And then I'm trying to think who else. I don't want to miss somebody. Richard Cool got out a little bit last year. Sarah drove that. And then I know there's some more being built. My singer has told me some of the names, but I mean, if everybody could be running, we could have eight Diesel Supers at the hook. Oh, Esden's old tractor. What's his name that drives it? Shoot.
Oh, yeah, the old red line.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember what he calls it now. But yeah, I'm excited for that. Tyler Buckman. Yeah, Tyler Beckman, Born Green.
Yeah.
So there's some good tractors. And then especially I've heard the guys that have the albino buck, Dad, they live out in Maryland, I think. I think they're building 2 new Diesel Supers. I know Brad just want to run some more. John Raymond. There could be, it'd be fun. It'd be fun to have a good 10 to 12 in a class. Be a lot. Tiger Bradley bought Esden's old tractor. Yep. That's a good runner.
Yeah, is it second
smoke?
Something?
Secondhand smoke. Yep.
Yeah, seems like, yeah. No, it'll be a fun summer. Looking forward to it.
Yep, I am too.
Yeah. So
will we see a Springville exhibition? Probably not. Would be just the most honest thing I'm going to tell you right now, because there's some stuff going on that weekend, but we'll see. Never know. Maybe we'll have some Diesel Supers in Springville someday. We'll see. We will see.
Be pretty hard to get it back there for that one.
Yeah.
So, but that's a good track.
Trav thinks Ken Paint's building 1 or 2 for guys out by him. So that's good. I think that's good. I think we can see a resurgence in the class. And But I know Travis said he, with that Grand National schedule, he likes to have so many weekends off so they can keep them running too, because of the maintenance program and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, well, they require a lot of work, so.
Kryptonite and the White Fawn are the old ones. Okay. Yeah. James Harmon says, Mike, always like to hear you announce at Springville. Yeah. You still announce there, don't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I do. Yeah, help out. I didn't do a lot last year because they had that one. They wanted to have a certified announcer there, whatever. I didn't think we needed 4 people on the microphone at that size of pole, so I just kind of did the opening and stuff like that. But it's always fun, and that's a good event, and very, very good for the community. I mean, that's the thing that probably I can't tell you over the years the money we've donated to the school, and they help us a lot with parking and a number of things. But these smaller towns with schools like that, if they don't have something good happening in the community, it's pretty hard to keep them real active, So.
Yeah, Andy says, hope you're all at Bowling Green. Remember, your tractor got second at the Friday session. Yeah, it got second at Bowling Green last year. I don't know if I told you that, Dad. So.
Yeah, I think you did. Yeah.
Was Mike driving it or was Payne driving it? I'd have to go back and look. Because Kent Payne drove it a lot last summer. I feel like Mike was on it, but I'd have to go double check. Or maybe Kent was. Probably, I don't remember. I saw Mike drive it at the Inderley. They made a good pass. So. Payne, Andy says. Payne was driving it. So. Well, cool. If anybody's got any final questions, throw them in the comments. But we're approaching 2 hours here. I know we're going to wrap things up and go to bed. Thanks for tuning in tonight. Dad, this means a lot to me. I wanted, not everybody that follows us knows the relationship that you and I have. Our close friends do, but you mean the world to me. My best friend, and that tractor, that old D21, Dad, the black jacket, that so much to me, going back and driving 2.5 hours to come watch you pull and stuff like that is a lot of fun. So I appreciate you doing that. So.
Yep, those were the days. Those were good old days. That's what we'll make more memories with the new one.
Yeah.
Make more memories with the new one.
Yeah, we're just very grateful to Mike and Sally Beck for selling me the tractor. And then Doug Meisinger, he's the one last year at Louisville. He says, Jason, you're not building the Pro Stock. I'm going to build you a Super. And we talked for quite a while in Broadbent, off to the side, kind of standing down by the diesel Supers. And Doug Meisinger is the man, and I'm excited. And they'll never be perfect. They're always going to break down, but I have a lot of confidence in Doug. And knowing that Doug can go run with Travis and Colin and Payne and the big boys, Burge and those guys. And, I saw it with my own eyes at the Pullers Championship. And then Travis got him last year, so we're doing a little rematch there coming up for those guys. And then, watch what Doug and Matt did at Sandwich this past year. It was, I like to see – it's fun when the other tractors come in and mix it up because, that Travis, Colin, and Mr. Payne are the measuring stick. I don't care what anybody says. So, for me, yeah, we see Doug kick ass all summer long with the Outlaws or whatever. But to him, when he can go tie into Travis and Colin and those guys and Kent Payne, that makes me know that we got something good. Makes me real good. So makes me excited. Kent, he got first with Rooster, but dang near beat himself with High Tech. Yeah, that a boy. I remember that now. Yep. I remember that because he was going after the points. But I know if you ask who's happiest that Kent Payne won the points this year, and the answer would be Travis Schlaubaugh because he says we need other people to win, and he's right. You know what I mean? To mix it up, otherwise you just get defeated. And it's been fun to see Colin kind of chase that unlimited thing for a while, but it's good to see him coming back and run the diesel super class because Travis is that challenges Travis, it challenges Kent Payne, Doug Meisinger, guys like that. It's a lot of fun. So a lot of fun.
Yep, it is.
So
fun to watch him.
Yep. Well, I love you, Dad. Merry Christmas.
Hey,
you're coming up. You're coming to Richland Center Friday, you said?
I believe Friday afternoon. Yes, we should be sometime. I think Friday.
So if I sent you down to Cedar Rapids Billiards, would you pick up my pool cues and stuff for me so I don't have to drive down there?
I don't know. I've done just about enough for you already. I don't know if I could do any more or not. So
I'll call ahead and pay for it. Okay.
Oh well, if that's the case, I guess I could probably swing it. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'll call you. We'll talk about that off the air. So
Yeah. I think they get in around 9, she said. So
yeah, I got her schedule here. So don't hang up yet when I end the stream, Dad. We'll talk for a few minutes. So on behalf of my dad, Merry Christmas to all of you. We're excited to be in the Diesel Superstock class. Again, we can't thank Mike and Sally Beck enough, and Doug Meisinger for taking us on. I bought a trailer. Doug's, it's gonna hold both supers, Scrappy and High Tech Remedy. I think we're gonna call the tractor, Dad. Yeah, High Tech Remedy. And in a support vehicle, then Meisinger has a toter, and then Doug is gonna be our wrench, and Dad's gonna be the driver, and it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to it. So, and the Pullers Championship is May 17th and 18th in Nashville, Illinois. So
get your court ground, all you farmers. You could be there.
Yep. I love it. Thanks for watching tonight, everybody. Omer, good to hear you. You're doing well. Travis as well. That's all I got. Have a great night, everybody. Thanks for watching.
See y'all.